Welcome back to Open House. Now we're just off the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles at the Spanish colonial home of designer Craig Wright. Craig created an homage to old world opulence, filled with architectural details like handcrafted moldings, archways, and columns. Classic furnishings enhance the sense of luxury, yet the home always feels warm and welcoming. At about 6,500 square feet, there's a lot to explore.
Hello, I'm Craig Wright, and welcome to my home, Casa Antica. We named the house Casa Antica because of my collection and passion for antiques, which I've always incorporated in my decorating. I'd like to take you on a brief tour of some of my favorite rooms, so let's take a look. I think you'll find that there's a cohesiveness in all of the things that I've saved and collected, even though they're not from one period particularly. And you'll see an example of this first when you enter the living room, where I've added a 17th century reproduction of a Venetian palazzo ceiling, and you almost feel as if you're in an Italian village. There is not an abundance of electricity and lights, so it's lighted by the fire and candles. One of my clients actually said, well, what do you have against electric lights? But it adds a background of mystery and drama and something unusual, because very few people have rooms that they just light by candlelight. Dinner is always served a la Russe from the kitchen. And I've done it in the Art Deco style, in keeping with the original house, and the black and white marble floor that is reminiscent of a bistro floor in Paris or New York, old New York. So it's a kitchen that refers back to the period of the house, even though it's a recreation. After dinner, we usually withdraw to the library, which is really one of my favorite rooms and really the grandest room in the house. It's a double height room, which I was inspired by Rizzoli Bookstore in New York originally, because I always wanted to live in a bookstore. The ceiling I borrowed from the Chateau de Grosset, and it's a trompe-l'oeil ceiling. The ceilings are always something intriguing in this house. Then I added the Swedish chandelier, again from another period, but it works in the room. Again, the stair rail on the upper library, it has an HO gauge train track that runs around the railing. Before we go to the master bedroom, you pass through a small library. From this vestibule, you enter the bedroom, which has my favorite bed, which is a late 18th century, early 19th century steel bed from the Louis XVI period and the Directoire period, which is one of only 6 of these beds that are recorded. The room is really featured with a higher ceiling, which houses another Swedish chandelier, and the cove lighting, which I've used as indirect lighting throughout the house, which is a central theme. Thank you for joining me on this brief tour of my home, and I hope you've enjoyed learning about my personal history and what I've collected over the years, of which I'm very proud.